Can I call you back in 5 minutes?
It's all yours.
Ben, Flo, can we discuss this?
There is nothing to discuss.
We're signing him back over to you right now.
Bad parents make bad children.
Oh, so now I'm a bad parent just because I hate my kid.
There's something
He
very,
is
very
twisted, and
strange
you're
about
not
that
gonna buy
boy.
him off on us.
You took him, he's yours.
That's because you condescend to him.
What am I supposed to do with the little creep? He's already been returned 30 times.
So what is the return policy on a human child, Drew? Is it like 30 days? Is it 14 days? You know, new, used, slightly used, heavily used in this case?
I feel like you need a trial period because it's you don't know, right? You don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you could get this kid who's kind of a devil.
It's like a mattress. It's like,
Right.
Try to use it for 60 days, and return for no shipping.
Yeah, free ship. You have to take it
What's
back.
the shipping? What's the shipping
Yeah.
on returning a
You
child?
have to pay for a bus ticket. That's what it is. The bus ticket. Oh, man. Welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. This is episode 130. Bad way. How did we make it this far?
I don't know. It's too many.
If you have not been to our website, visit thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on all of the social channels at The Last Row Pod, including Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also we're on YouTube. Check us out there. Hit the subscribe button. And if you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that did so far. What's up, Badway?
It's fine.
You're good. You're good.
Good. Been better, been worse. It's a day. Tomorrow's another day.
I feel bad.
We survive in advance, day by day.
We're professional.
Yeah. Problem Child, July 27th, 1990. Was this a theater movie for a little 5-year-old whippersnapper named Drew?
It was not.
No.
I think this was a TV movie for me.
No, this is a VHS movie. We chose Problem Child in part because it was on a short list and another part because of a fellow listener named Ben called us on our voicemail, Drew. Do we have that voicemail handy?
We do. Man, it's been a long time since we got a voicemail. Thank you, Ben. I don't even know if we post the number anymore. It's on our website, I guess.
Yeah, guys, Drew said you're not checking out the website. Check the website. That's a nice website.
It could be better.
So Ben says, I'm calling because I'm a fan of your series and was actually guided to you guys by being a fan of Ken Cole. Oh, thanks, Ken.
Hey, friend of the show.
He said we do a great job, and he suggested that we do the Problem Child series. And we'll do this one. We'll talk about 2 maybe a little bit at the end of the show, and maybe we'll do Problem Child 2 if we get to it later on. So thanks for calling in there, Ben, and thank you, Ken.
Thank you
for sending Ben over to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, runtime 1 hour 21 minutes.
Just right.
Just about right.
Just right.
It's comedy/dark comedy, directed by Dennis Dugan. Hacksaw Dennis Dugan, Drew. What do you know about Hacksaw Dennis Dugan?
So you know more about him than me, but I have a deep cut that I am very curious if anyone else out in the ether here has seen this movie before. He starred in a movie from 1979, I believe it is, called Unidentified Flying Oddball. I know one listener out here, my brother, has seen this movie.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This is like that unknown caveman movie that you talk about.
Iceman.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that I watched growing up as a kid. I believe it's on Disney Plus. Long story short, he's some space astronaut, and he gets somehow transported back to medieval times, and he's back in Camelot, and he shows him science and stuff, and it's burned into my memory as a child.
Well, Drew, this is why I haven't seen it, because it's a space movie mixed with medieval times. Of course I haven't seen it.
It's Badway's Kryptonite, double Kryptonite.
Yeah.
He can't watch that.
So this guy is quite the director. He's basically Adam Sandler's personal director.
Yeah.
He's directed everything from Happy Gilmore to Big Daddy to Grown Ups to Zohan to Chuck and Larry, all the way. He does basically all of freaking Sandler's movies.
He's in them too, right?
Yeah. He has small parts in all of them, yeah. But he also directed Saving Silverman.
Great movie.
Yeah. Benchwarmers, not a great movie. But it's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It exists.
And Beverly Hills Ninja, which is a great movie.
I recognized him right away when I saw him as the other dad in this, and I was like, "Oh, there's Dennis Dugan," and he always stands out to me as the head of the golf thing in Happy Gilmore, because he's the guy that runs the the golf, whatever the heck it's called. I don't know,
Right.
Masters or something.
Whatever the hell.
Whatever
No,
it is.
yeah, but Saving Silver is one of my favorite movies, and it's like I
Can
feel
we
like
do
it's
that movie for
lost.
this?
It's lost to the world. Yeah, I'm sure we can do it.
I like that movie. I think it's great. It's a really underrated gem, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. So IMDb 5.4 out of 10.
Probably
too high.
about right, in my
Probably too
opinion.
high. So is this right? Rotten Tomatoes 0%.
I have a story behind this. When I was putting the notes, there was like 30 reviews and they were all rotten, but it didn't give it a score. So when you look it up, it says 0%,
Joe,
but
it
it
is
doesn't
what
have
it is.
enough. But
It is what it is, Drew.
it's
a
too
zero.
low. Come on,
It's a
that's
zero.
too low. That's too low.
It deserves at least like an 8.
That's way too
Metacritic,
low.
Metacritic 27%, too high.
I think it's too low, but I think it's not that low, but it's too low.
Letterbox 2.6 out of 5.
About right.
That's too high. Was it good? No. Did I like it? Nah, maybe 25 years ago.
I would say I liked it, but we'll get into that, I guess.
I liked it 25 years ago. I tolerated it today.
You
that way.
tolerated it.
Yeah.
It's a tolerable movie.
This is a prime candidate for bad nostalgia on the 2022 Last Row Awards.
Dude, this one has a lot of potential awards this year.
Yeah.
So, and I think we want to do that award show live.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in doing that, we'll make it happen next year.
Yeah. Not that it was bad. I just didn't feel much for this movie. We'll get into it. Ben has a good-hearted guy. He has a good-hearted guy? No, he is a good-hearted guy. He has
He
a good-hearted guy, like Junior. Right? Does Junior have a good heart? Like deep down in his soul?
Deep down, yes. He just
I
wants
don't
to be
know.
loved, man.
I don't know about that. Who always wanted a son of his own, but so far he and his wife have had no success in the bedroom, Drew. The couple adopt Junior, a redheaded hellion, who quickly, do we have, like, redhead? Do we have to call him out?
Yeah, that's kind of messed up, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Is like the term redheaded stepchild, is that what they were going for here?
I think that, yeah, and I believe that that's also inappropriate these days, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to
but
cancel us, but
No, but I'm saying like that's what they were going
Yes,
for back in
they were.
1990. Yeah.
they definitely were.
He quickly makes their lives miserable. Oh, yeah, he does. Disaster follows Junior wherever he goes, from camping trips that require emergency room visits to birthday parties that turn into chaotic affairs. When Ben's incensed family tells him to get rid of the boy, he starts to wonder if they might be right.
Like,
Rated
I love
R.
the word incensed. I think that's like a really good descriptor, in my opinion.
But it's like you're either incensed or you have incense, which is like a very calming thing.
Yeah, well, that's true.
The dichotomy of that word, Drew, the English language. What a mystery.
How about the dichotomy of these taglines here? Here you go. Ready?
Oh,
Attila the Hun, Ivan the Terrible,
Wow.
Al Capone. They were all 7 once.
wow. Was Al
Were
Capone
they-
really that bad a guy?
I don't know, man. Here, we can't get into that. Was he that bad?
I'm in a
was he so
defensive
bad?
mood today, Drew. I want to defend somebody.
You sure about that? Was
You
he
sure
so
about
bad?
that? Was he so bad? Just wanted to give people booze? Is sure about that?
Oh my god!
Do I have the right guy? Is that the guy
He's like
during
the
Prohibition?
mobster, yeah.
But is he
in
like the
Chicago.
Prohibition? You're right. Yeah.
But there was a lot more to it than
Yeah, I just think of him for the beer. I'm sure he murdered hundreds of people.
he just wanted. He just wanted to drink a little
Yeah.
bit, right? It's
Yeah,
not so
but
bad.
he's giving the people the booze, man.
He's not so bad.
Yeah.
Contrast that with this one. He's so bad, even the nuns refused to keep him.
No, the nuns.
Can you blame him for being mad at them? They seem like a torture place, in my opinion.
Would Sister Mary Clarence have whipped him into shape? Do you think? Would she have gotten him to join the choir? You
I
think?
probably. Well, Sister
Yeah.
Mary Clarence, man, that's a movie that we should do at some point.
Yeah.
Sister Act. I used to watch that one growing up. I don't know. I think the boss of the Sister Mary Clarence, whatever her name was, the old
Oh
lady,
yeah. Right,
she
right.
would have whipped this kid into shape,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But yeah, I like the first one.
I like the first one too. I like the first one too. I do. And you could interchange those like 1,000 different villains for all we know. But, yeah.
Napoleon, Terry Silver,
Yeah.
he was 7 once.
Terry Silver was 7 once. He was.
He was. They all were.
M. Bison was 7 once.
We should make up our own.
Shang Tsung was 7. 7-year-old Shang Tsung stealing souls.
I feel so bad. Like I'm like the worst, right? I'm laughing in everybody's ears constantly. People are probably
Yeah.
like at the gym right now, and they're like, "God,
Yeah.
shut up, man."
No, they love your laugh. And if
Like-
people are beefing up while they're listening to us, then we've made it.
I'm
Because thank
beefing up
you.
over here. I'm lifting
Yeah.
weights as we're
Yeah.
talking. So
All right.
kind of All right,
Yeah.
how about I'm taking us off the rails. We're what, like 10 minutes in, and I'm already, I said we're gonna do a short one today, and here we go.
Yeah, we always say that. Go on.
But budget $11 million, higher than I would have expected. But cumulative worldwide gross return 72. Dude, did you know that this thing was like? There's a lot of back and forth on how they were going to write this thing and what it was going to be, and they thought it was going to bomb, but it actually was sort of a success. 72 is
That's
pretty
pretty
damn good.
surprising. It's pretty surprising.
I wonder if that's why they highlighted a sequel there.
Yeah, you know what they spent the money on? Those tennis balls.
Yeah,
in the
that's
sports
true.
store for the
That
for
was
the-
a good.
for
That
the
was a
car
sweet
crash.
sports store.
Yeah.
So this also is an award-winning movie,
Oh,
or actually award-nominated movie. Gilbert Gottfried was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor,
Oh.
and he lost to somebody who was actually pretty famous. He lost. He lost to Donald Trump.
he lost 45.
Yeah, for a movie called
So-
Ghosts Can't Do It.
So if you lose at a Razzie, then you win.
True.
So this is an award not winning winner.
Yeah, you probably don't want the Razzie in that way.
But in any event, Gilbert Gottfried was great in this.
He
He's
was.
probably the best actor in this movie. So
He
let's
was.
not get nuts here.
Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you this. Let's just jump right into it. What did you think of this right off the bat? I mentioned earlier that they wanted this thing to be more like a horror movie originally, and they were back and
What?
forth on this thing. Yeah, they wanted to make it like The Omen. So there was this story or a thing that happened where these people adopted a kid and they had a terror. So they wanted to take the kid back to the orphanage, and they thought they could write a movie off of that. And the original thought and the original push was for them to do something like The Omen and stuff that was out in the 80s. But the writers wanted to make it more like a satire instead.
Yeah.
So the studio meddled then and said they wanted it to be more like a children's film. So this thing wound up as PG, like you said.
Yeah.
And it forced a ton of reshoots and rewrites, and it caused this difficult production. They thought this thing was going to bomb, but it made 70 mil, like we were talking about. So
I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but like, is it the same cast?
yeah, it was. I mean,
Like,
it was
did John Ritter think he was fathering, the
No.
spawn of Satan
no. So,
on the first draft of his script?
it didn't go that far. It was
Okay.
when they were conceiving the movie, right?
okay,
When
okay.
they were fathering or
They
mothering
were-
the movie.
I see. Yeah,
That's what it was, and as through the creative process, it became
I see.
something else, right?
Okay.
So it wasn't like it wasn't John Ritter thought he
Yeah.
was acting in The Omen. So, but I mean, is that obvious to you when you see this? Like, did you feel what did you feel? Because I don't know if I asked what your history was with this thing.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I didn't feel anything with this movie. Like I felt a tinge of nostalgia, but I didn't feel any horror roots in this movie. That's for sure. And that's the first time I've heard about that. It's interesting, but no, I felt bad nostalgia. If I got to be honest, like I went in thinking it's going to be a little funny, and remember the good times, but it ended up being like kind of like Three Ninjas for me, just a little flat. I don't think I laughed once. Even though I thought some spots were humorous, nothing caused me to crack a smile, and like that's like the test,
Really?
right? Yeah, right. And,
Man,
yeah, there were a couple line readings in the movie that were like seared into the back of my brain that came popping out. Like a lot of it had to do with Kramer, what's his face, the bow tie murderer and all that, and Gilbert Gottfried, and the baseball scene with Junior. But no, yeah. Well, did you feel any sort of way about it, or I think maybe you liked it a little more than I did?
I mean, I liked it, right? It wasn't my favorite movie, but I thought,
Yeah.
71 minutes or whatever this was, or 81 minutes. I forget how long you said it was.
Yeah.
I was not bored, and I thought it was funny, and I like
Me
John
either.
Ritter.
Yeah, I wasn't bored either. Like it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad.
I definitely felt some nostalgia to it, but I would say that I felt way more connected to Problem Child 2, and maybe we can talk about that at the end, but me growing up, I saw the second one quite a bit more, and for me, when I watched the second one, it has like the sort of bigger and better kind of thing. Like we talk about this a lot, right? When you have Ghostbusters 1 versus Ghostbusters 2, like Ghostbusters 1 is a better movie. Ghostbusters
Yeah.
2 in a lot of ways is more fun in some ways, right? Like I know people would skewer me for saying that. Or some of these other movies where it's like Wayne's World, right? Wayne's World 1 is a better movie. Wayne's
Sure.
World 2 is a lot of fun. It's a sequel.
As more goofs, a little more
Yes.
gags. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of movies are like that. Like Hot Shots, right? Hot Shots 2
Sure.
is
Mhm.
a more fun movie. But
Yeah.
when you watch this, it's definitely like a funny movie, but I think 2 plays up some of the things that I think are better about it.
Yeah.
Like I love the grandfather. So Ben Healy Sr., I love him.
Yeah.
Like he's hilarious. And I think he's more in it in the
Yeah.
second one. And also Gilbert Gottfried is more in it in the second one. And I
Yeah.
feel like I like those characters so much that the second movie, I think, does that better.
Yeah. Mhm.
But without
It's
this,
true.
those wouldn't exist. You
Like,
know?
I feel like they took the more outrageous characters from the
Yes.
first and gave them more of an opportunity to bounce off of Junior.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's probably a good call. And that's something you
Exactly.
would do in a sequel.
yes.
Shouldn't Robert Loggia have played Big Ben?
Yes, he should.
Or do you think maybe Loggia doesn't have the comedic chops that what's his face has?
I thought the guy who did it was great.
Yeah, he was
And
good.
I
But,
thought
like,
he was great.
I thought
Like,
this could have been Loggia.
so if you want to make like this movie, and we can talk about casting potential because I have a topic on that in a minute, but I think Loggia would have been a good alternative casting for the grandfather.
Damn
but I
it,
think you're
Judy,
right.
the spawn of Satan. It's like, I don't know. My
I still-
Loggia's out of practice. Drew.
I still go back to our big episode. Go check it out, guys. That was Badway does a damn good Robert Loggia impression. It's ingrained in that episode.
Go check out Big. My time to shine there. No, but the main thing I felt when watching this movie, and this is a hard thing to describe, so please bear with me if this doesn't make any sense, and you guys can just fast forward, 2 minutes. But I feel like a part of my nostalgia for this movie, and I was 6 or 7 when I saw it. This is a PG movie that feels like you shouldn't be watching it. It's like a movie you're allowed to watch.
Yeah.
The parents will rent it for you. But you feel like you're getting away with something when you're watching it. There's a certain grime to this kid movie that makes you feel like you're doing something wrong by watching it, even though it's totally appropriate, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know what you mean because it's like, and this is PG. I think that's more. I feel that typically more when I watch a PG-13 movie.
Right.
So I don't know. So I guess, are you saying, did you feel that way now, or that's how you felt when you watched it
Back
in
then.
the day? Okay,
and that's
gotcha.
why it was a rewatchable movie as a kid.
Okay,
Like in our generation of if you're between the ages of 7 and 12 back in 1990 when this movie came out, it's like this is a movie you rewatch because you think like it's a more quote unquote grown up movie or something that maybe you shouldn't be watching.
yeah,
And it's not all tied to just PG movies, but also PG-13 movies that typically parents would deem appropriate for you to watch as a non-13-year-old. We kind of curated a list here. I don't know if they all make sense or not, but I'll rapid fire them. A lot of them are Burton movies, like Pee-wee
yeah.
and Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice. Kindergarten Cop was one. Ace Ventura was one that immediately came to mind for me, especially like personally for me as well. It's a movie I wore out the VHS tape, and it's probably because I felt like I was getting away with something by watching it.
That had that crude humor. I feel
Yeah,
is like the
yeah.
type of thing where maybe that's the tying, like the thing that ties them together to what you're saying.
and a lot of these movies, the characters themselves are kind of bad people, like the main
Yes.
characters. Not like evil, but kind of, not your typical hero. Addams Family, Hot Shots, and Men in Tights were one that we were talking about.
Robin Hood Men in Tights,
yeah,
especially
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
like
Yep.
the Mel Brooks ones.
Yep.
Like, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, and I think maybe and especially to tie it back to Problem Child is you're a kid at that age, and this kid is doing a lot of stuff that like you really shouldn't be doing. Throwing kids' presents in the pool.
Yep.
We have a whole section we'll talk about in a minute, but he was doing some really bad stuff, and I don't know. It's like the kind of thing that your parents don't watch that because I don't want you getting any ideas.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
he's clearly in the wrong in this movie, and he gets punished for all the bad things he does. But the movie's playing his bad moves for laughs.
Yeah.
And as a kid, that's kind of exciting, right?
Yes, because
And I
you're
feel-
sort of living vicariously through them.
So I feel like for a lot of the people, you and I included, when you think back fondly on this movie, you think about that time of being kind of excited by this kid getting away with all this bad stuff.
Yeah.
Or not even getting away, but like the movie painting it as, isn't this funny? Look at this cool kid. He's doing this.
Yeah,
You know?
I specifically remember watching Robin Hood Men in Tights at a kid's I had a sleepover at a friend's house, and I remember they
Mhm.
rented that movie, and and what's her name? Marion. It's the same actress who
Same
plays
actress.
Ben's
Yep.
wife in this,
Yep.
John Ritter's wife, who's actually real wife in real life, and I think they got married in late 90s. But
Hmm.
I remember watching that and like the chastity belt thing or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's
That's like
oh,
every kid knows the chastity
you
belt
should
scene.
know about
Yeah.
that, you know. It's
Before
like-
you do it, you must go through it.
and I forgot what year that came out, but anything I think The thing that stands through it is, like you said, bad person is the lead actor, or like crude humor, but it's not like that crude. Like even some of the Sandler movies were kind of like that too, like Billy Madison and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
Happy
I
Gilmore,
know what you're
sure.
saying.
Yeah.
It's like you're not supposed to watch it. Like it's not a movie, but Beavis and Butthead. Like I remember watching Beavis and Butthead Do America, and
Yeah.
like I remember my parents were pissed that my aunt took me to watch that movie. But it's like it wasn't that bad, right?
No,
Like,
yeah,
when you think
Simpsons
about it.
as well, where it's like, Bart Simpson says the word damn or hell.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
But
this
it's
is exciting.
crude.
If you're 6, it's like, oh. Ooh.
I know what you mean. I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
You the other thing you mentioned was Loja, and I mentioned something about the casting potential. I found some really interesting tidbits on this. So I want to know what you think about this, because if we talk about some of the actors, like I also think, could this movie have been different if there was somebody else that played Junior or Ben Jr.? And when I think about this a lot, and we used to do this on our show way back in the day, back in 2015, when we would recast. I want you to imagine a world where Problem Child exists, and instead of the actor who played Junior,
Yeah.
the role was actually played by Macaulay Culkin.
Of course.
So that was the role was originally meant for him.
So would the world have been different?
Yes, and would this movie have been different?
We're talking about Problem Child just like shifting
Yes.
into our entire reality.
Like Home Alone.
Had Macaulay Culkin done this movie.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And he
The
went
reason-
to play the good son. So
The reason we stopped doing this bit is because I think we casted Bale and
in everything, The Rock.
Bale, The Rock, or Jared Leto in everything. And they were like, you know what? Yeah, Bale should be in every movie, but he can't.
And you I'm pretty sure you told me, hey, The Rock could be in this, but he can't be in
But he
everything.
can't. He can't be in everything.
I mean, he could, but
Yeah.
he kind of was for a minute.
Yeah. I think Macaulay Culkin could have absolutely pulled it off. Like, would it have been necessary? No.
Yeah.
The kid's star power, the role of the kid in this movie, like, it didn't matter. He's a bad actor. Like, I'm sorry to bash the freaking 7-year-old, but like, he wasn't good. Like,
I
can we
kind
be
of liked
honest?
him though.
Can we
It
be
was-
honest? Like, he wasn't a good actor.
It was
When he had to,
endearing.
when he had to do drama, when he had to cry about nobody wanting him, like, I was like, kid, let's have another take. Come on now. Come on, Hacksaw Dugan. Make the cut. But no, it didn't matter though, because the movie was about some blank kid doing bad things and the dad being a goof about it. That's like the movie. That's all it was.
I thought the kid wasn't that bad. Like he was a bad actor, but like any 7-year-old is kind of not great at that time.
Don't tell Haley.
So
Joel
would you
Osment
say
that.
Macaulay Culkin is better than him in
course.
1990?
Of course,
he
yeah.
wasn't that great in Home Alone, was he? Like he was laying traps and stuff, but when he had
was
to like
good. He was good.
when he had to
Wide-eyed.
when he had to talk about, oh, I think you should talk to your son, like to the guy, like was he that great? I mean, come on.
He was great.
He's
Have
probably-
you seen the good son, Drew?
I've seen The Good Son, but that was 3 years later. That's
so
1993.
he got some experience.
He got some experience.
and he probably learned a thing or two from
It came
Elijah
with time.
Wood.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, he was acting
They were-
off Elijah
They
Wood.
were
Yeah,
playing
They were
off
sh-
of each other.
yeah, they were sharing acting tips as freaking 9-year-olds. Yeah.
What about Ben Healy, right? So we're talking about Ben Jr., John Ritter's character. So originally, and I'll go through some of these guys. You tell me if it would be better or worse. Because I thought John Ritter was awesome.
Yeah.
So you got Chevy Chase, Kurt Russell, Richard Dreyfuss, Dan Aykroyd, and Rick Moranis were all potentially going to be
Mhm.
Ben Healy.
Yeah.
There's reasons
Well-
why they didn't show up, but
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Okay. It can't be Moranis because he like has this typecast type thing of looking pathetic. And I felt like the dad didn't need to look pathetic just on visuals alone.
Like he would have been too pathetic.
He would have been too pathetic. Like Ritter didn't look pathetic by himself. It was his words and actions that made him pathetic and made him like just like chopped meat for this kid to just torture. Right.
That's very profound. Like Moranis would have gotten walked all over.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have believed that he could rise above it.
Right. Yeah. And I believe that Ritter was this dork that could eventually win Junior's heart.
So he was
You
a
know?
dork, not a dweeb.
Yeah. Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase are too on the opposite side.
Yeah.
They're too strong, I feel.
Same with Kurt
Dreyfuss-
Russell.
Same with Kurt Russell. Dreyfuss, maybe. Dreyfuss could have pulled it off, I think.
Yeah. Dreyfus could be annoyed. I feel like
Yeah.
Dreyfus and John Ritter are kind of the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Like even Dan Aykroyd, I can't see Dan Aykroyd in that. I just can't. I can't
No.
see him doing it.
Because he seems too confident.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing. It's the confidence. Ritter was kind of a perfect temperament
He was.
to be a dad for this kind of role.
Ritter was underrated, dude.
Yeah.
I know
Rest in peace.
he
May he
passed
rest in
away in
peace.
what 2003, I think, or 2001, I believe it was, or
Yeah.
whatever. It was around that time, early 2000s. But man, I thought he was great in this. And I thought he was funny. But the other one that I thought was interesting was you got Kramer as the bow tie killer,
Yeah.
but apparently Christopher Lloyd was supposed to play the bow tie killer, but he
You know
had
what?
Back to the Future 3 going on right now.
You know what? That's fair, though. I think like, you could have interchanged Lloyd with Michael
Yeah.
Richards, and I think it would have been fine. Like
Well, did you
Richards
ever
played.
watch Dennis the
Richards
Menace?
played it really well. Yeah, I've seen.
So you saw Dennis the Menace and Christopher Lloyd was the bad guy in that, sort of
Yeah.
the same kind of
Could
thing.
have, yeah, like that role would have been fine for Lloyd. Richards did it great. I thought he was the second best actor in the movie to Gilbert
Yeah.
Gottfried, but yeah, I would have been fine with Lloyd.
Just to, like imagine Problem Child in an alternate universe. We have Macaulay Culkin as Junior. You got like Chevy Chase as like these are big names, and then you got Christopher Lloyd as the bow tie killer. Like, what would that have done to the universe? It's just wild to
Yeah,
me.
I mean, who knows? I mean, we might have different. The environment might be different.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
Eagles might not have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Eagles might not have won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's scary. Maybe maybe there would have been Ghostbusters 3 had Dan Aykroyd been the
Yeah.
dad. Like the chain of events that happened there.
Yeah, Rick
who knows?
Moranis. What if
could
he
have had
would have he was there?
could have had a proper Ghostbusters 3.
Man, we got to do another Rick Moranis. I want to do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids at some point. That's a movie that we need to do. But
Yeah.
man, what a wild world.
Mhm.
Let's talk about. Let's finally get to the characters here. I said I was going to do quick, but
Yeah,
here
you
we
know, who
are.
cares? Yeah.
There's not much to this movie.
As we
you
wrap
know.
up this show, let's
Yeah.
get to the characters.
We're not going to get to that later because this is the end. Goodbye. See you later.
Yes, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Let's talk about Junior and the adoption. So I just first start right off the bat, like brutal, but is it legal to what's the legality? So you're the lawyer, you're the last row legal expert here, and I don't know if you've had time to look this up, but what is the legality of leaving a baby on the doorstep?
Can I answer a question by asking a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that fair? No, I'm being dead serious here, and I'm sorry if I offend, but I'm just being serious. What is the legal difference between leaving a baby on a doorstep and
Yeah.
leaving a baby in a dumpster? Because there are people leave babies in dumpsters. People leave babies on doorsteps.
Are you talking about legally or ethically?
Legally, well, ethically, I mean, throwing a baby in the dumpster, that's pretty damn evil. I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
it's pretty
something
bad.
Al Capone would do, right?
Well,
But-
think about it. Depending on the house doorstep you leave them on, it might be a dumpster.
Exactly. You don't know. You could be leaving on the doorstep of a serial killer, or
That's true.
some cultist who likes to sacrifice babies to Satan
That's
or
true.
whoever. I don't know.
That's true.
You never
That's
know.
true.
You're really rolling the dice there.
If it's a calculated doorstep and you know where you're going, like an orphanage or something, then okay.
Well,
that's
yeah,
different.
orphanage, but how messed up would it be if I had a baby and I was like, I'm gonna put it on Drew's doorstep. He'll take
Yeah.
care of the little bastard, you know. And but I've burdened you with this baby, but that you're not going to throw away. Would you?
No.
If I put a baby on your doorstep right now, would you take that baby in and care for it, or would you send it to an orphanage?
I feel like I would have. I don't know. This is not a me decision.
You're too nice a guy.
This is a last wife conversation.
Let's get your wife in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Last wife.
Well,
Please,
because think
you
about
gotta
it.
ask her.
Just like they said to him, like you don't know
Yeah.
what this kid. Like what did Ben Senior say? Like you don't know about that kid. What's his
Yeah.
parents? What if they're crazy?
Yeah.
Like you don't know about the kid. I mean, obviously
you don't know his
wanna do the right
DNA.
thing.
You don't know his DNA makeup.
You probably wind up taking him to an orphanage. But if it's your kid, if I know it's your kid, I
Yeah.
would take care of your child because
Like,
I care about you.
I just watched. You've seen the show, The Leftovers. You recommended
Yeah.
it to me,
Great
and then
show.
the total baby on a doorstep situation.
Yeah.
And
Great show.
Like that was a calculated baby on a doorstep.
It
The
was.
son put the baby on his dad's doorstep, and that's kind of messed up.
Because you know the dad's gonna
It's
take care.
It's
of him.
more messed up that the person will do
Yes.
a good job, because it's like you can leave a dog on a doorstep, but this is not a puppy. This is a baby.
Yeah. Well, it is. You're right because you're burdening that person with the.
You
You're
are
taking,
willingly.
Yes.
You are willingly burdening a person for 18 years. Not to call a child a burden, but a child that was not conceived of your own, volition, if that's the right
beasts
word.
of burden over here.
The beast of burden.
But
Which beast of burden?
I'm still, there's a lot. Like, if you guys are longtime listeners, like, you know what I'm talking about. You go back to the Mummy, and you know about the beasts of burden.
we gotta talk about the beast of burden.
That's our metal band, the Beasts of Burden.
And so we didn't answer the question, but no, it's not legal.
No, it's not.
To short story long, no, it's not legal.
And what about how about this? At what point is it not okay anymore? Because you saw this happen. I mean, they say it. You heard it in the intros 30 times. This kid was returned. But this was before he was even returned, right? So how many times was he left on a doorstep?
How many times do you just brand the kid defective?
Yes. And at what age is it not okay too? His legs were poking out of this basket. He was a child. It wasn't a baby.
We have to know, okay, so when he bulldozed the trailer, right?
Kind of deserved it.
Is it time to put the kid in juvie, right?
Probably.
Isn't it time? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Put him in one of those school for boys, like a not a military school, but one of those school for troubled boys.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
But don't you think they kind of deserve that? Getting bulldozed. They were kind of jerks.
He just stepped on the toy. That's all he did. It's like bringing a rock to a pillow fight.
But they kind of deserved it, in my opinion.
They were probably doing drugs.
That's what I mean.
We didn't see their faces, but they were probably crackheads.
We don't know what kind of place this kid's in. And maybe that's the other question. Like, was he acting up? And I think we learned this through the movie, but at that time, was he acting up because he wasn't being taken care of? Like, let's say he stayed with his original mom. Would he have been?
With the questions, Drew, nature versus nurture, you're getting deep here. You're getting too deep. You're in too deep. I'm drowning here. This kid is bad from the get-go. He's bad to the bone. Did you hear the song? They played it 100 times.
He's bad seed, bad egg, or whatever they call it.
Did they overuse bad to the bone? I feel like they did.
Yeah.
Every time he started doing something,
they paid for that license.
How many times did we hear that riff in this movie?
You know how much money you got to pay for that? They got to use it over. They had like a soundboard ready to go.
Yep, that's I wish we had it already. Now,
we're already getting demonetized on YouTube because we got from just hearing that riff.
Yeah,
but you're right though. They did overuse it. It was a little too much. Come on, doing too much.
He was doing too much. But no, this kid was always bad.
So would you ever turn him?
It's a nature thing, not a nurture thing.
So you really don't think the fact that he had multiple returnings over a period of time
doesn't help? Doesn't help.
I wish you guys could see his face right now.
What if? So I think what you're getting at is what if Ritter, was it Ben Healy?
Ben Healy Jr.
If he would have been the third parent,
yes.
Could this kid have had a much better shot? Could it have been a better chance than the 30th?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think so. I think this kid's bad to the bone.
I wish I had a soundboard with that on there. Let's talk about Ben Healy Jr. here for a minute. So I think he's perfectly cast. We talked about John Ritter being great. You mentioned Rick Moranis would have been a little bit too pathetic. Physically, visually, Ritter seemed like a guy that was maybe sexually pathetic. he was not helping. He was not going to be satisfying Flo there. That's what kept Ritter's wife around in this one, because
he's got a little dick. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Yeah. It's a Simon situation. But I thought
this episode, Drew.
There's so many deep cuts. If you guys know, you know. That's people are gonna love this one or hate it. That's how I feel about this. But he seemed like he was just getting beaten down by his life. His wife was just up his ass all the time. She just wanted to be like a yuppie, all this stuff. His dad was being a dick to him, right? We'll talk about the bad father in a second. But he seemed like, for all intents and purposes, a pretty nice dude, right? He seemed like a nice, loving guy.
He's the type of nice guy. Look at the house that he lived in.
Yeah.
Do you think he enjoys that house?
No.
The way it's furnished?
No.
That wife walks all over him.
She does.
He has zero input in their life. I'm surprised she went along with the adoption.
I agree with you. So it's funny. I've seen the words browbeaten to be put out there. I've seen the words pushover to be describing Ben Healy Jr.
But I wonder, we know how hard his dad is, right?
Yes.
Big Ben, Does that create a soft man? or like a scared man, or like it just goes to show tough love doesn't work, right?
I think he's the kind of guy, because of the father being such a hard ass, he's looking for somebody's approval. And that's maybe why he marries Flo. Like I want to talk about her because she's very self-centered. She's kind of obnoxious. She's constantly like belittling him. She's always talking about how he's not good enough. And I think maybe that, like you talk about nature versus nurture. Here's a situation where I think the way he was brought up by Big Ben Healy Sr., he was the one that maybe put him into the situation where he's looking for approval from somebody. And maybe that's how he married Flo. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, speaking of Flo, do you know, like, she's, very much of that girl from That Thing.
Yeah.
She was obviously Problem Child 2. She was also, well, like you said, Maid Marian from Men in Tights. She was also was it a reporter in The Mask?
Yes, she was. She was the
reporter,
Debbie, the columnist.
The columnist where she pretended to like Ipkiss.
Is she going to be up there on the Five Timers Club in Last Row without us knowing it?
She was Mina and Dracula Dead, loving it. Like, she was in things, man.
Yeah, I forgot that she was in The Mask and she was the columnist. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, and I thought that she was so good at being a jerk. That,
she was.
Yeah, I hated her. You have to hate her. You got to. But yeah, I think Ben really was looking for approval because why else would you be with someone who just undermines everything you do or just tells you how to live your life, dictates your whole life?
Like, what kind of relationship is that? And how did they meet? Like, I don't understand why she was with him, because at the first chance she got, she hooked up with the bow tie killer, like in the kitchen. And she, like, there was a whole, I thought you loved me. Like, what the hell? Like, I didn't get it unless, like, I just don't see them together. I don't see how that would have ever worked unless she was hoping that he would have taken over the store and she would have been rich.
That's the thing. Like, they seemed like they had money, which they kind of didn't.
They didn't.
But based on where they live and what their house looked like, it seemed like they had money. I don't know if she had a little bit of money, but maybe she was waiting to cash in on that big sports.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think, like, he put in, like you said, 19 years, no promotion, no raise. He's waiting his turn. He's waiting for his turn to take over that business,
Big Ben saw him as a liability, man. Yeah. He's a credit liability.
You're a credit liability. I'm not going to let you borrow $100K from me.
I mean, the fact that he had $100K just sitting around and he wouldn't give it to his son is crazy to me. I don't know. I just feel like this is a weird marriage, and I think maybe, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I feel like she. Do you ever think about beating a dead horse? And we're
on the same page. I'm like, what did you just say? Because I know the saying, but just now I was like, why do we say that?
This episode, man. I don't know why I thought about that. I'm like, wow, that sounds kind of brutal, doesn't it?
This podcast, as a whole, is beating a dead horse.
What are we doing here?
130 episodes in.
What are we doing here?
The horse is dead, and we keep beating it every time we put a new episode out.
Should we just call it quits? Should we just
people let us know if we're not beating a dead horse. Let us know if you're still out there.
What year did we stop? Like 2018 or something? We fell off the plane.
Yeah, went on hiatus. Yeah, unannounced hiatus.
Did you ever feel bad about that? Because I do.
No.
Like I feel bad.
Yeah. There's a couple, loyal listeners that were like, hey, where'd these guys go? Did one of them die?
I wonder if they thought we died.
Yeah.
So here I am, right? This is a meta moment right now. We're talking about Ben Healy, and here I am talking about our hiatus that we just randomly took. And I said this was going to be a short episode, but man, I feel bad. I'm sorry that we quit on you guys.
Yeah, we're beating a dead horse here. So
the horse is bleeding.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this episode. I think we're done here, right? I mean, the other thing I just want to say is another thing about him being walked on is just his friend Roy, aka Super Dad, the dude who's always just one-upping him and all that stuff, takes him on a camping trip. I mean, this is another example of him being pathetic because this guy just walks all over him and you could see what he thinks of him. His baseball team just beats him up and down, doesn't even care about it and all that stuff. We don't need to go into it, but I just need to mention him because that guy was a complete a-hole, and it was like, he was self-aware too. He just didn't care. And I felt bad for Ben Healy in that situation.
Yeah, that's the neighbor that, you're always trying to like compare yourself to, you're judging yourself on. And
right.
Yeah, I wanted to punch that guy in the face.
He sucked. And I'm glad when Ben took his hat. That was the best part of the movie. So let's talk about Ben Healy as a dad, right? So he adopted Junior. Obviously, we can talk about Junior in a second, but is he the best dad in Last Row history? and maybe we come full circle at the end here, but who does he compare against?
Low bar, right? We've got a lot of bad dads. So there's not a lot of good dads, and not just our catalog, but in just movie history, a lot of bad dads. That's what they do. That's why the Bad Father Barometer exists, but it might be up there. I mean, I don't think he's quite Dennis Quaid, traverse the earth in all types of weather.
Yeah. Walk from Philadelphia to Manhattan to save his son, to say hi to his son.
Yeah. What do we got? We got Teen Wolf Dad, who, wants to protect his son, but he lied to his son, lies by omission, without telling him about the whole werewolf thing. Yeah, Alfred in Batman and Robin.
Surrogate father or pseudo stepfather.
And also Batgirl, father.
True.
Father, was her dad or was it her uncle? Great uncle.
Uncle Alfred.
Uncle Alfred. John Matrix, Commando. Killed probably, how many people did he kill to save his daughter?
200 people or something. Yeah. Him and Quaid are probably in the Last Row Hall of Fame, Dad Hall of Fame.
Quaid only killed one guy.
That's true. His friend.
Or left him for dead, which is like killing him. So
he brought his friend along and left him for dead.
Yeah.
It was Hopper, by the way.
Wouldn't share his tent.
Or it wasn't Hopper.
His weather-beating tent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wahlberg's dad, who let a dream live.
That's a good dad.
Face Off Dad, John Travolta, who did the weird face brush thing.
I think he's a bad dad because of that. It's weird.
It's just creepy, right? Danny O'Shea, that one time,
dad. Icebox.
Teach the kids that one time. Colin Crisp. Why is Colin Crisp on this list, Drew?
Yo, so I know this is going to be controversial here. He's a murderer, but he murdered for his son because
murdering son of a bitch.
He loved his son so much he escaped jail just to get him back. He tried to buy him the best Christmas present ever.
I see. So he tried to pay double. I think it was a lady. I think it was an old
man, wasn't it?
I think it's an old lady, actually.
They can't murder a lady.
Yeah. Well, you put him on the good dad list. So does it change your opinion of him?
Yeah, no, I think it was a guy, wasn't it? It was an old man. I thought it was.
Anyway, he killed a person because he couldn't buy the gift he wanted for his son. He tried to pay double.
When
the person said no, killed that person and took the gift. It was a cool RC car racing set.
Would you murder for your son if it was the last gift? I mean,
let me think. Let's talk about let's go back to 2015 and we're trying to buy a Nintendo Switch, right?
Okay.
And it just wasn't on the shelves, right?
Yeah. What to go back even further? We go the Technodrome. You can't get one of those. You want to get that? You got the last one, man.
I don't know about kill, but beat in an alley with a baseball bat. Right. Just one strike. What are those things? It's like slapjack.
Yeah, the slapjack. Or
I would slap or blackjack. Yeah. I would blackjack someone for a Technodrome. Yeah, I would do that.
If Colin Crisp's kid knew that his dad murdered to get him that Christmas present, because he didn't know, would he have been like, I'm going with Dad? I'm going with this guy. He's not climbing that tower.
Kids don't understand the concept of blood money, Drew.
He got him the coolest present ever. He didn't know.
They don't even understand the concept of money, let alone blood money.
God, I want to go do another episode of Kindergarten Cop so I can talk about Colin Crisp right now. We never put him on the villain scale.
Remaster. Let's remaster it,
dude. We need to talk about him on the villain scale at some point because him murdering his son to get a present.
No, murdering.
I'm not murdering for his son.
A stranger for his son.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about that episode again, but
do that.
In the past.
Yeah, I think he's up there. I think that Ritter is probably third on the list.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Quaid 1, Danny O'Shea 2, Ritter 3.
What about Matrix?
And Matrix, that's blood on the hands, though. It's like, I don't know.
He had to save her from a compound with freaking Dan Hedaya.
The thing is, Matrix's daughter got kidnapped because of Matrix. Because of, I forget how the story goes, but because of his reputation is why she got kidnapped.
Fair enough.
That's he's got to erase his own mistakes in life.
All right.
So he put his daughter in danger, basically.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's incidentally. But last place is definitely Travolta and Face Off with a weird face wipe thing.
You missed one. You missed Ben, the father of Johnny Five.
Yeah, he gave Johnny Five life.
Or the lightning, I guess, but he supported his life.
He did put him to work, child labor. Johnny Five was under 18 years old. We know this.
And then you got Uncle Michael McKean.
Yeah. Uncle Mike. No, a bad uncle. Terrible uncle.
All right. Well, we talked about the best dads. Let's talk about the worst dad. Let's talk about Big Ben Healy.
Big Ben Healy?
This guy, and look, he's got some company. And I don't know. We don't need to go into all the detail of him. Just watch this movie. He owns a sporting goods store. I don't know. We could talk about the shopping and all that, but maybe we've gone too long about these other things. The thing I want to ask you about is he in the pantheon of bad fathers? And you can put him through the bad father barometer. I don't even know if we have the scale, but we had a lot of bad dads on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of our thing, right? Unintentionally. Where does he rank on this?
Well, I think he ranks relatively low because, I don't know, Ritter survived. And at least if he was a bad dad, at least he existed as a dad.
Sort of a scumbag
You know,
dad.
he didn't blow smoke in his son's face like Roger's dad from Angels in the Outfield. You know, he didn't berate his kids like the two dads from Summer Catch.
Yeah.
You know, he's not the Three Ninjas dad who just allowed Grandpa to just teach them lethal karate.
Inept FBI agent.
Yeah, inept FBI agent. Varsity Blues dad, fire that fucking pigskin. You know, not that. He didn't leave his kid at home alone twice, back-to-back holidays. He didn't, you know, get himself divorced and then become Santa Claus and then corrupt his kid.
Accidentally become Santa Claus.
Yeah, messed around and became Santa Claus. F around
put
and
the
find out,
jacket
they say. Yeah.
It's because he put the jacket on. He should have put it on someone else.
Yeah, man. Got to force the jacket on people. Heartbreak Kid, it's all about crushing. You can bleep that out. Drew, you got heavyweights on this list. Who's the heavyweights dad? Like, why is he a bad dad?
I don't even remember him, but I felt like they were like up the kid's butt about, you know, they sent him to camp. I don't know. I always mix up the dad with Pat, but it wasn't Pat. But unless you want to go Papa, which was Tony Perkis' dad, played by Ben Stiller.
If you're, it's not a bad dad if you're sending your kid to fat camp. If they truly need to better themselves.
Well, that's true.
It's a health concern,
acceptance, and it was an acceptance camp. The
Anyways,
Perkis camp was bad.
Yeah. Jack Frost, you know, just went on tour with his bullshit band that sucked and died. Messed around and died. Came back as a snowman.
And he melted.
And, you know, blank check, you know, hand, foot, and mouth.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
That guy sucked, man.
Yeah.
I like the actor James Reborn, but man, that guy sucked.
So which one of these dads would you take over Big Ben Healy?
At least Big Ben Healy had a sporting goods store. That was kind of cool, right?
But you're not going to get it, though. You're not going to get it. He won't even give you a discount.
He won't give you a discount. He won't give you any money.
You work there. He won't give you a raise.
He's running for mayor to like mess with people and take over the town. I don't know. Three Ninjas dad, like he still liked the kids. He cared about them. So he's better.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You could argue that the dads from Summer Catch liked their kids. Like Rand Parrish was trying to watch out for his daughter. He was kind of, you know, whatever, classist about it, whatever you would say.
Yeah, definitely classist. Yeah.
I still think that Peter McAllister is one of the worst, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I will argue that he spilled that Pepsi, like we talked about many times.
Yeah, he's caused that whole situation.
Spill of the century is, you know, you talk about the butterfly effect. If they didn't spill the Pepsi, they wouldn't have left him.
Yeah, there'd be no Home Alone movies. Yeah.
And he didn't need to spill the Pepsi.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone up at this at length. We don't need to go into it, but I just feel like he was probably the worst. But obviously Roger's dad is the worst of all of them.
Yeah.
Because he's a complete scumbag. Back to good dads. Let's talk about Ben Healy Jr. and Junior. Is it Junior? Junior,
like who is this Junior? Like, what's he a junior of?
Junior Healy, I guess now it is.
Yeah.
Did you find it endearing that he called him Mr. Healy? I kind of like that. Like he called his dad Mr. Healy.
It's kind of cute. And he called him dad, and it was a good moment.
But let's talk about his behavior, right? So we can't talk about problem child and not talk about the problems that the child was causing.
Yeah, we have to talk about the problems.
So I think we could play a little, I don't know if it's a game or just scenario based. Let's talk about some of the things that he did. I'm going to pose these questions to you. We'll talk about some of these, but I want to say this, like, it's almost like, would you take him back to the adoption place or not? So obviously they do at some point. You heard it in the beginning. Maybe we could go for each of these actions and some of the things that he does. It could be either we return him to the orphanage.
We're talking about human boy,
yes.
right? Yes.
Return him back, right? Return him like a Amazon Prime. Take him to Kohl's or whatever.
30 days.
Get some Kohl's cash.
Yeah.
Or you
get Kohl's cash for the boy.
You ever return something to Amazon? They give you Kohl's cash. That's what they do, right? So you take him back. Yeah, you punish him, but you still keep him, but you punish him,
Sure.
or you reward the behavior.
Yeah,
right?
like actually, this was good job. Attaboy.
Like he kind of like whoever they had kind of had it coming.
They had it coming.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so the first one, it's not Ben Healy, but he knocks over the motorhome with a bulldozer. We talked about that in the beginning. Now I don't know if this really fits the game, but
No, you're
maybe-
returning him. They were right to return him.
They returned
He
him.
destroyed their house.
I would reward him as a neighbor of these people. But yeah, they
Ah.
got to return him, right? They got it.
Yeah, that's a return.
What about the whole? I don't even know if you can return him here, but he took very compromising photos of the nuns and priests, which actually made me slightly uncomfortable when I was watching that.
Sure, me too. Yeah. Well, he's already returned, so you can't return him. So you have to punish him.
Okay, so you got to punish him. What do
Yeah.
they do? Make him write on the chalkboard?
Well,
Like,
did they make him? They make him like clean the pots and
Yeah,
pans and all that crap.
which
I don't
looked
know.
awful. That was
Yeah.
terrible, in my
Yeah.
opinion. He also then fed the cat soapy water or dish detergent, which is gonna murder that cat.
Let's be honest. He killed the cat.
He killed the cat,
and,
right?
and if he willingly and intentionally kills the cat, you return him.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is this psychopath?
Yeah. What about burning down the clown room, which
You
appeared like an accident?
You reward him for that because that room was hideous. Like, what were they thinking?
Flo was going to reward him, but
Yeah.
but I don't know that John Ritter would, because John Ritter was he liked that. I don't know.
Who
Clowns are creepy.
who made the room? Was it the wife or
She
Ritter?
probably did, but I would
Like,
assume it was
that's
her.
a rewarding because that room is hideous.
Yeah. What about he threw the cat at Grandpa, which was hilarious. That you didn't laugh at that? Come on, man, you didn't laugh at that part. And then he fell
Yeah,
down the
I
steps
mean, it was kind of
backwards.
funny. It was kind of funny. You throw the cat at Grandpa,
And then
yeah.
they gave him the insurance fraud neck
Yep.
brace. Which
Do you know what happened after he threw the cat at Grandpa? The riff.
Why not? Right? Perfect use of it.
Yeah, you punish him. That's not a
And-
return. That's a punish.
And then he stole Grandpa's wallet. Was the other one?
That's a reward.
You
Because
reward him, right?
He
needs money.
owes back pay to Ben Jr. for not giving him raises all those years.
What about? Okay, here's the camping trip. So he goes on a camping trip with the kids. He lures a bear to the camp.
Mhm.
Did that not make you laugh? I mean, you said you didn't laugh during this movie. He
I'm
lured
gonna-
the bear to the camp.
I'm going to be honest. I fell asleep during the camping
Okay.
scene, and I didn't bother to rewind it.
It was classic physical comedy. Like I don't. Do you remember?
I
What happened?
do remember it where like he doesn't believe the bear's there, so he starts egging him on, and then
Yeah.
the bear does show up. Yeah.
Ritter was like pretending. Ritter thought that the guy was in the bear suit, and it was the
Yeah.
actual bear. That was hilarious to
Yeah,
me.
I feel like that's a neither because Junior could argue his way out of saying I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault. Yeah, so
What
that's
about
that's a no go.
what about causing him to beat up this a-hole guy with a frying pan?
That's a reward.
Yeah, reward, right?
That's a
Hands
reward.
down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah,
And then what about peeing on the fire in front of the kids?
that's a punish. You can't flash your dick
Yeah.
around. You
Especially
can't
as
flash
like a 5-year-old
your
kid.
little 7-year-old dick. You can't do that.
You can't do that. Okay, so what about then during the Little League game? So he got
Yeah.
called in as a pinch hitter, and he
Yeah.
basically beat the crap out of all the other kids. And
Yeah,
ran
it was
around
it
with
was
the
it was it was manslaughter. It seemed.
bat. I kind of want to reward him, man.
No, you can't reward him for beating kids. It's a punishment. It's
Those
not a
kids
return.
were jerks, man. They had it coming.
Yeah, it's a return. It's a punish. I mean, not a return.
I think I would sort of saw it as like the way I would do it is like kind of like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink,
Yeah.
wink.
You know what happens after he slides into home and hits the kid in the nuts?
You know what happens after this podcast? We should just change our show music to
Yeah.
that. What about the birthday party? So I won't go into all of it, but basically he did a lot of crap at this party. Do you remember all the stuff he did? I mean, it
He
was
threw the presents in the thing.
blew up the cake.
He put the crap in the pinata, which I thought was kind of that was unique. That
I
was
like that.
unique. What did he do? He cut the girl's pigtails off.
Cake blew up.
Put the frog in the punch bowl, which was odd, but fine. The cake blowing up thing, I mean, that's almost return worthy because he could have killed
Yeah.
somebody.
Well, what about the whole? Yeah, would have been a butterfly effect situation.
Yeah.
Cherry bomb in the
Right,
in the
exactly.
mailbox. What about the sprinkler in the girl's bedroom? That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
She
that's
had
just-
it coming, man. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
she was a jerk, but you got to punish.
You ask for it when you show up to a party dressed like a devil.
Yeah,
Like,
Who, like,
I was
they dre-
surprised they let
they
him do
dressed
that.
them. Yeah, they dressed them. They're the ones. The kid has no. Well, like actually, the kid does have money. Like I'll say, the kid
He got a lot
can't
of
buy
money.
his own Halloween costume. Like, yeah, he
had
can.
more money than Healy Jr., didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that girl was the worst, but you got to punish
He
for
seemed
like
like-
the cumulative of it.
But didn't he seem like he wanted to actually be good at that party? And then I thought
They were
he showed
a
up.
jerk to him. They were a jerk to him, but it again, it's bringing
Justified.
dynamite to a pillow fight. It's like
What about
you know,
driving the car into the sporting goods store? Like
that's a return. That's a
Imagine
return. Stole the
him-
car. He stole the car.
and he was driving underneath the
Yeah.
seat. Like, how did he not die?
That's an iconic scene of him like under there. You know.
Yeah. Like it's just so funny, like the way he was steering.
Yeah.
Did you not laugh? You're laughing now.
No. Yeah. Looking back on it, it's humorous, but
We're gonna turn bad way around, guys.
maybe
We're
I don't know.
gonna-
Maybe I just wasn't in a laughing mood.
And then the ultimate pen pals with the serial killer.
Oh well, I mean, you got to reward that. I mean, that's like you teach a kid to do pen pal. It's like a writing thing. You know, he didn't know he was a serial killer. You know, the bow tie murder. That sounds like a fake thing.
Oh man, which is hilarious because I feel like it's hilarious because Martin Beck, the bow tie killer, thought he was talking to an ex-con. He's like, he got
Yeah.
out. I thought that was funny.
Gonna go on a crime spree.
I think overall it sounds like you were punishing him more than you were returning him. If I wasn't keeping tally here, but
Yeah.
it seemed like at the end of the day, you're probably taking him back, right? If you're the
Yeah.
dad.
Speaking of the bow tie killer, about Kramer, of all the things that he does when he gets out of jail, so he visits the house and calls him Junior's uncle, and then he goes in the kitchen and has his way with Ben's wife, right?
She seemed like
And she wanted it. And she was definitely into it. No, she was absolutely into it. She was going to run away with him.
She said, "I thought you said you loved me."
I thought this was our honeymoon. I thought we were going on a honeymoon. Like, what's up with that? Like, is that what she's into?
Maybe this was a loveless marriage. Maybe there was no action going on in the Healy household. But you got remember when they said it, when they went to the doctor, they said, "Oh, so we've been doing this every night for no reason."
For no
Like,
reason.
she wanted, I'm telling you, man, you uncovered it. She wanted an heir to the Healy sporting goods empire because she
Yeah.
wanted to be somebody. She didn't actually like him. But man, like, you're not going to be anybody by hooking up with a serial killer. It's the
Well, like,
opposite.
But I hate to pull that it doesn't make sense because the movie's called Problem Child.
Right.
It's about a kid pulling pranks. But like, she wanted to get away from the kid.
Yeah.
So her idea was to get in bed with the kid's presumable uncle to where the kid would be around more.
I don't think
legally?
she was thinking.
She wasn't thinking that through.
It's the heat of the moment, man.
There was a lot of hot action in that kitchen to make her go.
It was a hot action.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure. I wasn't even sure like what he did. Like they said he was a serial killer. Did you believe that this guy could kill people? Because I didn't. He didn't look like a serial killer to me.
He
looked
seemed like a
goof.
bad guy in respect to a PG movie.
Okay. All right. I thought Christopher Lloyd was creepier in Dennis the Menace. He seemed more like a killer to me. He was
Yeah.
creepier,
They
but had a
both could be
creepier vibe.
killers. Yeah.
I have to ask you this though. So after they left, and we don't have to talk about the end of this movie. We've been talking about whatever for however long here. After they left, would you have felt like John Ritter? He seemed like he won the jackpot. He got rid of his wife, who he didn't seem to like anymore. He knew she was
It's a great
up his
question.
ass all the time. And he
Yeah.
kind of didn't like Junior at that point either. He was celebrating until he
Yeah.
saw the pictures that Junior
Yeah.
drew.
His house was a mess. His inheritance was gone. His life was in shambles. But his two biggest problems were now disappeared. Yeah, I don't blame him for at least having the moment of this is awesome, right?
It was like a snap situation
Yeah.
where he had that moment, but he kept snapping back. Like even when he
Yeah.
returned Junior,
Mhm.
couldn't got to
Yeah.
get him out of here. But then
Yeah.
he heard he was returned 30 times and he changed his tune.
Think about Kevin McAllister when he realized he made his family disappear. Like
Right.
he was like it was all fun and games the first night, but eventually it's like, wait a minute, this isn't so great. But really, he could do without his wife. The kid. Oddly enough, the kid is more redeemable than the wife.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
believe it. What was she
Yeah.
doing for him, right? They had a
Yeah.
loveless marriage. She was
Mhm.
awful. She was just trying to be a yuppie in the neighborhood. She was
Yeah.
just a status person
Yep.
or whatever you would call
Absolutely.
it. So the only other thing I want to say about the bow tie killer was it reminded me of a Sam and Stan Sweet situation when they
Mm.
were showing the news of him being on the loose or whatever. And I love that to me. That is like one of my favorite sort of low key jokes of any movie.
Yeah. things inside a movie.
Yeah, it's just perfect. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to wrap this episode up other than maybe we touch on the final showdown. Ritter has a super dad moment. He steals the hat, he puts the hat on, and he becomes, badass.
Super dad. Yeah.
he takes on the bow tie killer and basically gets his wife out of there. So I don't know. What did you think of the way that he wrapped everything up and he went out and he got to get Junior, man. He's got to get him.
Yeah,
He's
he
gotta
proved his
himself.
love to Junior, and he got shot in the prune, man. Like, what was up with that prune? Like, can we dive into like the psyche of this man where he kept that prune for 30 years?
I mean, he's again looking for approval. Like, you give somebody a prune. I mean, that was his grandfather's.
It was very sad that it was a prune. Like, that was his heirloom. Like, was his grandfather nuts? Like, Probably. I mean, it was Ben Healy's senior. Like imagine if you have like a grandfather who's off of his rocker, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, grandpa's crazy. And he hands you this prune and then you proceed to keep it for 30 years as a family heirloom. It's a freaking prune.
They stopped the bullet, dude.
Stop the bullet. And everything happens for a reason, butterfly effect and all.
I think you're right. I mean, it just proves that he was looking for approval, and he finally got it though with Junior, because he winds up having the son that he wanted, and he gets rid of his wife. She's on a truck full of pigs with the pig's scrotum in her face.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you did it feel good to you that he threw the bow tie away? Like, did that mean anything to you, or was that like, whatever?
I mean, it was symbolically like,
but like, did it work? Did it work?
No, because doesn't he wear it in the next movie? I'm pretty sure he puts it back on, doesn't he?
I think he does. I don't
That's
know.
his look.
I feel like he does.
But I don't know. There was a weird thing where he was looking to the bow tie killer as a father because he did, like, I don't know, it was weird, right? And then now Ben Healy Jr., whatever, is his real father now. They got a life and they kind of walk off. But I think this year we've had a lot of movies that we've done that we can instantly see the candidates. You mentioned Leave It in the Past Award, Bad Nostalgia. Yeah. Is this like the top one on your list right now of all this so far?
So far, I believe so. Yeah. Yep.
Would you be willing to watch Problem Child 2? Because Ben, not Ben Healy, Jr. or Senior, Ben, our friend Ben, listener Ben, suggested that we do Problem Child 2 at some point.
Yeah, no, I want to get it straight. I didn't hate the movie, and I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't necessarily have much fun with it. I was just kind of like, it just existed. And I was like,
went.
It kind of was like, oh, I remember this. Like, in a nice way, but I wasn't laughing, so I don't know.
I'm laughing thinking about all these moments, and I'm imagining you sitting there completely straight faced,
just straight faced, yeah,
like Amuse Me movie,
yeah, like it's kind of things where it's
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Where you acknowledge that it's funny, but it doesn't cause a reaction out of you.
I'm giving you a hard time.
That is humorous.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, and if you're not in the mood for it, like, you're not gonna laugh because it is sort of slapstick humor and whatnot. And if you're not in the mood, like, it's not going to.
Yeah, like, I'll laugh at slapstick. I have nothing against slapstick. It just didn't catch me.
I definitely want to watch Problem Child 2 at some point.
Sure.
I just haven't seen it. And I remember, again, like I said in the beginning of the show, this is the one that I watched more growing up. And I feel like it has more of those moments. We didn't talk about Gilbert Gottfried. I'd like to watch him. I love him. He's hilarious. And it's got more of Ben Sr., who I think is great.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if you remember much about 2. I don't remember much at all about it because I've seen this one more than I've seen 2. Does Junior, and if it doesn't happen, I believe this should have happened. Does Junior end up corrupting Ben into, like, becoming more of not a jerk, but more assertive in the movie? Because I feel like that should happen.
To be honest, I don't remember. I just remember it being more about him and the girl.
And
trying to one-up each other. But I don't know if there was a different thing between him and his dad.
Like, I feel like just as much as him, like, Ben winning over the love of the psycho kid, like, I feel in the second one, there's an opportunity for the kid to kind of, like, corrupt Ben a little bit. And maybe make him tougher or more assertive, to not take crap from his neighbor, so to speak. And I feel like they didn't do that, and I feel like there's an opportunity.
I couldn't tell you the last time I saw Problem Child 2, but I'm definitely curious, and we'll have to see. So if you guys,
I don't think they did, but I feel like they should have.
It's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you guys want us to watch Problem Child 2, or you want us to watch any other movies, you can send us an email, thelastrowpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're looking for us on the web, you leave a comment on the episode's page, send us a note through the contact page. Check us out on all the social channels at The Last Row Pod, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And if you guys are enjoying the show, we'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, May 25th. But also make sure to go out to YouTube. We're going to be putting more content out on YouTube. We've been doing some streams with our friends. We mentioned Ken. I was recently on our friend Peter's podcast, Podstalgia, doing an episode on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers special. Talk about nostalgia, maybe a candidate for bad nostalgia as well. I'll put a link in the show notes there. Check it out, and check out Peter's podcast as well. But also consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks to everybody that did so far. I had a lot of fun with this one. Thanks, Ben, for recommending it. And we'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, May 25th with a new episode for you guys. Woo! Do you think that it's PG, right? They can't show the love scene. I mean, they can't do that, right?
No, you can't show the hump. You can show like they'll fall and like the island will block our view.
You know how you say you don't want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger kissing anybody? Yeah. I don't want to see Kramer kissing.
We don't need to see Kramer. We don't need to see Kramer.
He had a stylish haircut. I'm not trying to see Kramer.
And for that matter, Seinfeld too.
Yeah, exactly.
For that matter, Jason Alexander too.
Yeah.